everyone, and welcome back to the Sewcial Hour Podcast, a podcast for sewists by sewists. I'm your host, Bethany.
And I'm your host, Audra, and today we are joined by 15-year-old world traveler, quilter, and now fabric designer, Genesis Hall. Genesis, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be on the podcast.
Oh, thank you. And 15, but almost 16.
Almost 16.
Yes.
So happy early birthday.
Thank you. I turned 16 in November, so.
Well, in just a couple of weeks from when this is airing, so we're really excited to have you join us. You've got a lot going on, and we are going to learn a lot about you in this podcast. I'm so excited for everybody who's listening to hear and learn about all that you're accomplishing. It's a lot, and I'm so impressed. But before we jump in, we always like to start with a fun little icebreaker. So we're going to kick off with our icebreaker question. And by the way, if you're one of our listeners, please hop over to our Sewcial Sewist Facebook group and share your answer to our icebreaker question as well. So this week's icebreaker question is, if you could choose one non-fabric item to represent this stage of your sewing and design life, what would it be and why? This might be one of our hardest icebreaker questions we've ever asked. We saved it just for you, Genesis. Audra, do you want to go first?
For me right now, it is definitely books. I'm really trying to get better at self-care and taking time for myself, because I feel like if I take time to sit and read and unplug a little bit, that just spills over into having more space for creativity and bringing those ideas in. And I think books also are inspiring me. So I think it's just the books and the self-care are freeing up mental space to make me better at what I do.
I like it. I put spray starch, because I kind of stuck to things that were in the sewing room when she put this question in our outline. And so I said spray starch, and that's only because I jokingly say that my word of the year is crispy. And I like my fabric really crispy, just like I like my Diet Cokes really crispy. So that was my silly answer. I love how Audra always takes it so seriously, and I'm just like goofy. But Genesis, what would your answer be of a non-fabric item to kind of represent your current stage of your sewing or design life?
So I think for me, it's instruments, because I actually play the banjo and the piano, and I love instruments, and I always am like listening to music while I'm sewing and quilting, and that's a big part of what I do and what I enjoy. So I think it's definitely music or instruments, because that's such a big part of my life, and I love both instruments and quilting together. So.
Well, and it's another side of like your creative life, right? It's just, yeah. I love music too, so that's such a great answer. Quick question on the spot. What type of music or genre of music do you like to listen to while you're sewing or quilting?
So for me, it's probably a lot of like folk. Like I love Noah Kahan or Olivia Dean. I love folk music, and that goes along with the instrument I play, the banjo. I can focus without like getting distracted by the music while I'm sewing and quilting. So I love like the whole genre of like folk or around that.
Awesome. Well, let's dive in and get to know you a little better. Audra?
All right, so getting us started, tell us a little bit about how you began your sewing journey. And I think we'll learn more about you through that, but taking that as a lead, like how did your sewing journey really start?
Yeah, so I was homeschooled in middle school, and I, in my homeschool co-op that I was going to, I had several friends that were like, we're learning to sew at this local children's sewing studio to where we lived. And I thought, oh, that's so cool. I would love to learn that. So I started taking classes when I was 10 years old, and I started learning how to sew, and then later I learned garment sewing at that same studio as well as quilting. And I really like gravitated towards quilting because everyone was like, I love your points are good, like it's so precise, and I love math, so it goes perfect with that. And I just gravitated towards quilting, and that was my favorite part. And then later on, my mom is a big supporter, and she actually signed me up to be my first ambassador program with Aurifil thread. And she actually didn't tell me because I was 12 years old. And she was like, I signed you up to do this today. And I was like, oh, wow. She was like, I didn't tell you because I didn't think you would get it because you were so young. But I ended up getting it, and I loved it, and I was so thankful for that.
I love that she's good at math. I am not good at math, but I am good at quilt math. That's like sewing math is the only math I'm good at.
I'm better at the regular math and not the sewing math, but I just eyeball it.
Yeah.
I'm the oddball who just eyeballs everything. So I know that you kind of started, you said around age 10-ish, right?
Yeah.
And you're almost 16. So in a nutshell, in almost 6 years, or roughly 6 years, you have accomplished a lot. And I know Audra touched on a few of those things. But what would you say in those 6 years has been some of the key highlights of your quilting journey before we dive into it a little deeper?
Some key highlights would definitely be having my quilt shown at QuiltCon and various shows. I was the very first Next Gen inaugural quilter who had an exhibit at H&H Americas. That was very exciting. My quilts have actually been able to travel places that I've been, like England and even without me. So that's been very fun. Definitely entering in shows and just like learning a lot. Because when I first started, I was learning something new with every quilt I was making. And that in itself is such a big highlight, was just being able to learn as much as I could.
I remember seeing your quilt at H&H. I think that was the very first time I actually encountered you. And I was walking down the hallway, and I saw, because it was the pixel quilt, right? It was the pixel quilt self-portrait.
Yes.
And my peers and I were like, what is that? And we're like, that was so cool. And I think that was the first time I'd heard your name, and it's been off to the races since then. You teed it up talking about places you've lived. Can you talk a little bit about how growing up and being a world traveler, and a little bit about that world traveler background and how that influences some of what you do?
Yeah, so I grew up as a military child. Both my parents served in the Air Force, and we have been fortunate to live and visit so many countries. I've visited 21 countries. I was born in Italy. We lived in Germany for 3.5 years. That's a huge part of my life, being able to live and move and travel. And it's definitely inspired who I am today, getting to travel and see all the different countries. And just growing up, because everyone always asks me, they're like, so where are you from? Because my parents are from a set place, but I'm like, I'm from all over. Like, I can't have a specific thing where I'm exactly from. So that's really cool, because everyone always asks me that. And I'm like, I've been so many places. And growing up as a military child, I have been very fortunate to travel and visit the world.
That's amazing. So how do you balance all of that travel with all of your quilting that you've been doing over the last 6 years and learning? I mean, you're going from place to place and having to take your, I'm sure, sewing machine with you, or find new tools that you can use in those new locations, or new inspiration. So how has that been with balancing all those big moves? I mean, 21 countries is impressive. So impressive. But to be on the move so much, how do you balance all of that? That's a lot.
Yeah, so over the 6 years, we've moved once, but we've kind of stayed in like a set place because my dad's now in the Air National Guard. So we're not traveling as much as we were. But we actually lived in our camper for 2 years during, I think, when I was 10 to 12 or something like that, during my sewing journey. So that was a lot, because we were living in our camper to build our now house, and that was hard because I was like moving my sewing machine to my bed to the table every time I wanted to sew. But it was very fun. Or like sewing outside. I love taking my stuff and going outside and sewing, especially in this fall weather right now. So that was that's what I did when we were living in our camper, was I was moving everything back and forth. And then now that we're in the house, it's given me so much space.
Do you have a dedicated sewing space in the house?
Our basement isn't fully finished yet, but I do have a finished area that I'm sewing that's dedicated to my sewing space. So.
Yeah, you need it with all the stuff you're doing.
Do you recruit your fellow teenage friends on your sewing journey and get together and hang out and sew? Or how do you balance that dynamic of being a teenager and also being an artisan?
Yeah, so at school, they all follow me on Instagram. They all, they'll be like, Jenny from the QB or Jenny from the Quilt Block. They all think it's so cool. They'll always be talking about it. So it's something I frequently talk about at school or in sports or anything else I do. They all know about it. It's not a secret. They always come to me and they're like, I want to learn, and I have to teach some of them eventually. I've been slowly starting, but they all think it's so cool and amazing. I'm actually starting a sewing and quilting ministry at my church that's going to hopefully incorporate some of that. But yeah, they all know about it.
That's awesome. That is great to hear that you've got a supportive group of friends too, right? They may not understand it all or want to do it themselves, but they're inspired by you. And I mean, what an example you're setting for your peers of look, I can do things outside of school, or I can do things outside of sports even. I can be creative and have a lot of fun with it and express yourself in a really cool way. And I think it's such a good example for your peers, for teenagers, but even for me and Audra and our listeners, just to see what you've done in just a short amount of time. I mean, my mind is blown, and we haven't even scratched the surface because you have a new fabric line coming out with Riley Blake, which is perfect timing with this episode airing because it is available out now. Shops should be receiving it or have already received it in stores. So let's dive into the topic of your fabric because it is stunning. If you haven't seen it, we'll put some pictures over in the Sewcial Sews Facebook group and over on our Instagram, and we'll share it. Or you can just go follow Genesis herself because she's got a great videos and photos of her fabric line over on her Instagram. But tell us a little bit about all of it. I want to know how you decided to start designing fabric and what your inspiration came from, and what this process has been like for you to get to this point where it's now available for others to start creating with.
Yes, so Riley Blake at H&H Americas, all these companies were approaching me and will you design fabric for us? Will you design fabric for us? And I was like, I've never done this before. I don't even know where to start. And Riley Blake was the first one who came up and was like, we will teach you and we will work with you and we will show you how to do it. So they have been, them and their graphic designers have been designing it alongside of me and really helping me and teaching me and me being able to learn the process because I have never done it before. And they have really helped me in doing that. And so my fabric collection is very much inspired around places I lived and visited, things I enjoy doing. There's a whole map on one of my prints, and it has a golf course, and there's banjos and tennis shoes, and it's really inspired by me and just what makes me me. And I love bright colors, so that's another thing about my fabric collection. Bright colors are my favorite.
It's a very fun print, but I love that you were if I'm going to do this, I'm going to stick to what makes me me and what you enjoy. And I love that you stuck to that, but also that they supported that design idea. I think you partnered with a really good brand to make this come to fruition. So when did you start designing and getting your hands into it? How long has that process been?
So the process has been around a year because it's been slower for me to design and learn. We started with a whole inspo board, and then we went to you're going to draw and we're going to help you, and then we're going to redefine your colors, and it's been a really fun process. And I did want to say the name of my fabric collection is the Genesis of a Journey. It goes along with my name because to me the definition of my name is the endless possibilities of beginning. And because this is my first collection, I like to think of it as the beginning of my journey, the genesis of a journey. So I thought that was really fun.
I think it's perfect because I think it's not just the journey of your fabric collection, it's the journey of your life and the journey of your path as the artisan that you've become. And it's not just a fabric collection. Could you talk a little bit about some of the other coordinating products that are also coming out with the fabric collection?
Yes, so I have partnered with Renaissance Ribbons, and we're actually coming out with sewing patches, sewing labels, ribbon and webbing, and also with Aurifil thread, I'm coming out with my very own collection, and I really wanted to work with them because they are what started my first brand partnership. And I was like, we have to incorporate them somehow. So my Aurifil thread collection features many weights of all kinds of sewing. Being able to be an artisan for them was my first time ever learning how to use the different weights and what they're for. And so my thread collection, I made sure to incorporate multiple different weights for people to try and be able to learn with me, as well as the colors that coordinate with my fabric collection.
I think that's so smart. Those are some of the things I don't think I encountered until decades into my sewing journey, frankly. And I'm still learning about thread weights decades into my sewing journey. Same. Challenges. It's obviously been an incredible experience, but it's also a learning experience. So what challenges have you personally encountered going from being a sewist to now being a designer, and then also that process of thinking about how your designs are going to actually apply into finished projects?
Yeah, so one challenge was probably making sure, like, I like it, but also everyone else likes it. So, like, coordinating with that. Definitely time, too. I like to think there's all the time in the world and I can do all these different things. So that's probably one of my challenges, was managing my sports and school and fabric collections and my sewing and everything else. So that was probably my biggest challenge.
Are you a serial overcommitter too?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Hence why I'm trying to be better at self-care.
Yes, that's
I'm
a good
just
idea.
Delulu. I just drink more Diet Coke and just say it is what it is. Because it's all fun. As long as it's always fun, right? So my question to you is, now that you've gone through this process, you have this line out. I have two questions. It's a two-parter. One, where are you most excited to see now that it's out? Like, are you excited to see what people make with it, or how they turn it into their own thing, and how they use your designs, or it could be something else? My second question is, now that you've gone through the process once, are you wanting to do it again? Or are you just like still riding this wave and taking some time to see what falls into your plate next?
Yeah, so something I'd love to see with this fabric collection, I'm so excited to see what everyone makes. I'm excited to see something that I've created be in people's hands and see what they do with that, what they turn it into. Being able to, people to just like use what I've made. It's like, I've done this. I'm excited to see what you do with it. So that's definitely something I'm excited for. And I'm actually working on my next collection right now.
Of course you are.
This one's coming out, I'm working on the next one. The next one is going to be very inspired by Mountain Girl, because I was born in the Italian Alps. I live in the mountains of North Carolina right now, and I love just the mountains in general. And so that's what that one, it's definitely not going to be as bright and moody as the one I just came out with, but it's not going to be as bright. It's going to be more moody. And that's what this one's about, is more mountains, and because I just love the mountains in general.
Well, I'm not surprised by your answer. Of course, you've already started your next one. I question if you sleep. I know I don't, so we must be cut from the same cloth.
We'll circle back on Genesis of a Journey, but before we move on to the next segment, I want to say, if your quilt shop does not have Genesis of a Journey, tell them you want it, and they need to order it from Riley Blake yesterday. What is it like being a younger maker, as we know, the sewing industry tends to skew older. So what is it like being a young maker in the sewing industry?
So the sewing and quilting industry has just been so supportive of me, and I'm so grateful for that because they've always asked what I need. They've always given me so many opportunities, and it's been really fun to be a young quilter in the industry because I am different, and it's just been like so much fun because everyone's so supportive and they always want to help you in some way. So I feel like the possibilities are endless. You can do whatever you want. Not necessarily because of my age, but it's just very cool to be able to see, I think for people to see my progress because of how young I am. So it's very fun.
How would you say your experience has been with, you mentioned Riley Blake kind of taking you under their wing and saying, we're going to show you how to do this. We see your talents. We recognize your talents. We want to support your talents and help you grow. So they kind of became a mentor when it came to creating your first fabric line. But have you had other mentors in the sewing industry that have had a positive impact on your growth? And if so, you don't have to necessarily name them, but how has that shaped your growth and helped you in the trajectory that you've had in such a short amount of time?
Oh yeah, I've had so many. There's countless supporters and mentors that I've had. They have shaped me by giving me all the possibilities. Like, I've always been taught if you can ask, and if they say no, that's okay. But literally everyone I have asked has said yes in some way, and they have helped me and shaped me to who I am because I've been able to learn. I've been able to experience different things, and they've given me anything I've wanted to do. They've said yes and helped me out in some way, and it's just been wonderful for them to do that for me, and I'm so grateful.
And obviously mom, shout out mom for
Yeah.
giving you that first push, right?
Yes,
She
Mom.
obviously believed in you way before anybody else knew what you could do. So we can't say enough about thanking mom or those people in our lives that like give us that little push to find our path. So shout out mom.
Well, she's definitely my number one supporter. She actually manages all of my social media because she has her degree in marketing. So she is definitely my number one supporter, help me and helper. If I'm on a deadline, she'll like help me iron, and like she's just the best.
I feel like you have a lot of, there's mom, and then you have a lot of like air quote moms in the industry. I think just because I know I will speak personally, also being the mom of, mine's a couple years younger, a preteen, but like every time you pop up in my feed and I'm like, oh, look at Genesis. Oh, look at Genesis. It's like there's just this super proud, like maternal thing that comes out seeing your progress and what you're doing. And it's just so heartwarming. I know you and I chat back and forth and I'm like, oh my God, it looks amazing. And it's really fun just to see your growth. And we're all cheering you on.
Thank you.
Any advice that you would share with another young maker who is venturing into a creative space, sewing or music or otherwise? What do you wish you knew that you'd like to pass forward?
Definitely put yourself out there. Like I said earlier, don't be afraid of the no. And if someone says no, go to the next person and ask. And because literally the possibilities are endless, and just keep learning, putting yourself out there. Don't be afraid to be like, oh, well, maybe this won't work out. It's okay. It will work out eventually. Just keep going, put yourself out there, and don't be afraid to try new things.
I think that's all advice we could all take.
Oh,
We all need those reminders.
I'm like, yes, Genesis, I need to hear this today.
I will say, to your point earlier about just the support you've had in this community, I have found the sewing community to be very supportive. And I think that's because they want to see our craft of sewing and quilting and all different types of fiber arts to continue to pass down to younger generations. I feel like we've talked about this before, Audra, where we once those types of learning to sew, even just the basics in school, was removed as part of the curriculum. We felt kind of like there was a gap in people learning to sew as part of growing up. And so it's very important as a community that we continue to pass down our knowledge, what we've learned, our experiences, and encourage and create a space for younger people to try the craft. I know Audra taught a camp over the summer for younger kids to be able to just have that experience. And you're setting an example for your peers and others online so that they can see themselves in you. And I think that that's something that we always need to be talking about and continuing to find ways to connect with younger generations to keep our craft going, right? Like, this is such an heirloom craft. It's been around for ages and ages. And how do we continue that and continue to grow it and nurture and bring in new young talent that we can then have their beautiful fabrics to sew fun things with. So I'm excited to see who else comes up as well into this industry. But just know that that's why we're all cheering you on. And to Audra's point, have that kind of maternal like instinct to want to just be that like safety net to protect you as you go through this journey, because we want you to grow and thrive. It just means that our industry continues to grow and thrive, and our craft continues to grow and thrive. And so we just need more of you, and we need more people giving that kind of support out to our younger groups. So I'm glad that you're setting that example and encouraging others too.
I'm teaching a sewing class, a zipper pouch class tomorrow night. And they emailed me, and I had like 12 as my minimum age, I think, for the class. And they emailed me and said there is an 8-year-old who their mom reached out and they would really passionate about learning to sew. And the mom is wondering if the 8-year-old can come take the class. And I'm like, absolutely. We'll figure it out. You know, like if they're passionate and they want to learn. And I got the roster today. There's only 2 people in my class tomorrow night, but that is fine. It's the mom and the daughter. But you know what? Who knows? That 8-year-old could be the next Genesis. So I am here to happily teach you how to make a zipper pouch. You never know the impact you can make and where that could take someone. And even if it's just her carrying a zipper pouch to school and being proud she made it, and that's the only thing she ever makes, at least she can say she made it and be proud she made it. So.
And show it off to a friend who ignites the next fire, right? So I feel like we get inspired by the beautiful fabrics or the new patterns or all these things, but how do we inspire that younger generation to just start? And I'm so glad that someone inspired you to start, and look what that's done.
It gives you a new skill you can learn. It gives you a new skill you can learn and continue with, and you can use it the rest of your life. So.
Absolutely. It's an art that will never die. It's not a dying art at all. Do you want to do some fun rapid fire questions?
Yes, I would love that.
Okay. These are like super quick and fun. And we don't have many, so don't worry. All right. Off the top of your head, what is your answer to favorite sewing tool right now?
Oh, favorite sewing tool? Probably a rotary cutter. Probably a rotary cutter, because everything has to be perfect and straight. And if you use scissors, it doesn't work out. So.
Fair. Agree. One fabric color you can't live without.
Probably pink. My favorite color is pink, and pink goes into red and everything else. I love pink. It's my favorite color. So definitely pink.
Good answer. Best place you've stitched. It could be a location.
Trying to think. Probably just outside. I love stitching outside or at QuiltCon. Stitching like at conventions is really fun too, because it forces you to stitch and not get distracted.
I would be so distracted sewing at a show. I don't know. Was it in a class?
It's probably like I have to get this done so I can hurry up and get up and talk some more.
Do the fun stuff. Okay, next question. Yeah. What's next on your creative bucket list that you want to try and tackle?
I recently got a long arm, and I want to learn more about long arming and how to do it, because I know like kind of how to start it, but I need to learn more about the long arming.
Me and you both, girl. Me and you both. We're both on that journey. And then last question, rapid fire question. I told you we didn't have many. If you could collaborate with any designer or brand, anyone in the world, who would it be?
It's definitely Ralph Lauren. because I think it would be so cool to be a designer for Ralph Lauren. They actually came out with this teddy bear like golfing sweater. I just love their brand in general. And to be a designer for Ralph Lauren, I think would be so cool. Or just to collab with them somehow. I think that would be such a cool opportunity.
I think it'd be really cool to design a fabric line of Ralph Lauren inspired prints.
I
Like,
agree.
I would make a cool one. Yeah, we're putting
Putting
it
it out
out.
in the universe.
How
They
it comes
had
through.
in their store in downtown Chicago on Michigan Avenue a couple seasons ago, they had a quilted, it wasn't pieced, but it looked pieced, a quilted skirt in the window. And I was like, ooh. So there's an opening there. I see an
There is.
opening.
Okay,
I
we'll make
got
this
the
into a
universe.
reel. Everybody tag Ralph Lauren in this post, and we'll see if we can get their attention to work with Genesis to create a quilting fabric line, because I think that would be fantastic. I would make a quilted coat out of that in a heartbeat. And shoes to match. Quilted
That would
shoes
be
to
such a
match.
cool opportunity. Ralph Lauren, just
It
a
would.
great brand in general.
I know. It's such
Yeah,
a classic
we're gonna
style.
manifest it.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
We are. All right, Audra.
We're going to wrap up the episode. We always wrap up our episodes with something on a positive note. And it's our You Love to See It segment. So, Bethany, why don't you start the You Love to See It segment, and then we'll roll to Genesis.
Sure. And by the way, it doesn't have to be sewing related, Genesis, although mine is. So, when we're recording this, I just wrapped up my second sewing retreat of the year, the Sew With Me retreat in October, and it was so much fun. Every time I go and teach at a sewing retreat and even get to host my own, it's a lot of work, which people would assume just empties your cup, but the way it fills my cup is so rewarding, and it makes all the work worth it. And the ladies were amazing, and we made beautiful jelly roll rugs and little thread catcher projects, and just had the best time. Every time I do these, I just have the most amazing group of attendees, and we have so much fun, and everybody leaves with completed projects, and we had trivia games and silly fun games and lots of prizes. And I just am already in the mindset of what my next year retreats are going to look like and what projects we're going to make. And I just love the whole planning process of events. So I'm already, Audra knows, like, I can't stop. So I do all the things too, Genesis, but I'm already planning like next year's retreats and what projects we're going to do. So if you have suggestions, please DM me or put it in the Social Sewist Facebook group, because I'm always looking for ways to connect, and I want to do some new projects and continue to challenge you and teach and learn together. But connecting with people through in-person events like expos and retreats and all those kind of classes, they're so rewarding for me, and I absolutely love it. So anyways, that's my You Love to See It. I'm still riding the high after my last sewing retreat of the year. I wish I could do one every month. They're so much fun. All right, Audra, what about you? What is your You Love to See It? Yeah.
Not buying anything to finish a project. Recently, I realized I don't actually know the last time I bought something, which also could mean my stash of supplies and notions and fabric is just too much. But I'm going to take it as a
it's at the sweet
positive.
spot. It's at the sweet
Yeah.
spot.
I'm taking it as a positive. The last handful of projects that I've made, I haven't had to buy anything.
That's a nice
And
feeling.
That's also a nice thing. I feel like I'm like kind of working down the stuff, but I also have enough, I'm not drowning, but I'm not short of stuff. I think you're right. I think I'm in the sweet spot. So I like that I haven't had to buy anything to make things lately.
It just means you can
That's
start
what
the
I love to see.
project as soon as possible, because you don't have to wait for something to come in or go shopping or anything. It's like once you hit the inspo hits, you can just jump right in. That's a sweet spot. Enjoy it, savor it. I wish it always happened that way. All right. Genesis, what about you? What's You Love to See It that's happened recently that you want to share?
So my love to see it was probably getting my fabric collection in the mail this week and just being able to see it, because that was just so exciting for me. Being
hard to
able
beat
to
that.
if I think back when I was 10 years old, it's just everything I've done. In the moment, I'm designing fabric collection and everyone's gonna have it, and it's so exciting. But if I just sit here and look back at everything I have done and people who have helped me in classes I have taken. It's just so rewarding to be like, wow, like this has all contributed to what I have now looking at my fabric collection. So that's probably my love to see it.
That's a very good one. And I'm glad we left with yours instead of led with yours, because then ours would have been like, meh.
And the power of reflection, you know, because you're so in the moment, and then it arrives and you're like, oh, wow.
I did this.
And I think sometimes things happen so quickly that we don't actually look back at the journey, the genesis of the journey, to appreciate how we got here. Genesis, let's talk about what's upcoming for you. What would you like to let listeners know about, other than making sure that they get your fabric in hand? Is there anything else you'd like to make sure the listeners know about?
Yeah, so something that's upcoming that I'm really excited about is I will be going live with the International Quilt Museum for a textile talk on November 19th. And be sure to listen into that because I'm super excited about that. The International Quilt Museum actually bought one of my quilts at QuiltCon. And so I'm going to have a textile talk with them I'm excited about. So
we'll put a link to that in the description of this show, so that you guys can go sign up to watch that, because that's going to be really amazing. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's incredible. We will also put links to Genesis's fabric collection as well. So if you're a store, you know how to find it, or if you are a consumer, you also know what to request for your store to have.
Yeah, and I think on Riley Blake's website, you can search for stores near you and see if they have it. And a lot of them sell online as well. So there's a way to get it, and you're going to want it. It is so stinking cute. All right. So we know what's coming up next for you with your talk. We also know that you're already in the works for your next fabric collection, which blows my mind. But I just wanted to take a quick moment, because you were talking during your Love to See It about like looking back, and two things kind of came to mind when you were saying that. I just want to call you out on it because I feel like it needs to be said. You have a heart of gratitude. And I want to say that that's something we don't see a whole lot sometimes, because we do get in the moment. But to see that in someone at your age, it is really inspiring. And I just wanted to say that is wonderful. I hope you never lose that. I don't think you ever will. But that heart of gratitude for your experience and the support you've had has shown through in our talk today. And I just want to thank you for sharing that with us, because it's just really, really sweet to see. And I've just absolutely enjoyed getting to know you today even more. And I just think you are off to the races. And I'm excited to see what you're going to do next. I mean, you're just going to continue to blow our minds. So we're all here cheering for you. So thank you for being a part of our show today. This has been really, really sweet.
Yes, thank you so much, Bethany and Audra. I've really enjoyed it as well. This has been amazing.
Well, on that note, we're wrapping up with what's coming up next, Audra. What are we talking about next? I don't even think I
next episode. Yeah. Next episode, we're talking about actually Thanksgiving reflections as well as Black Friday planning, because we know it's coming, and how we approach that from a sewing lens.
Yeah.
And make sure you follow Genesis on Instagram at Jenny from the Quilt Block, and check out her collection. And post in our Facebook group, The Sewcial Sewist. Tell us what you think about the episode. Say hi to Genesis. If you already have her fabric and you're already making, post photos of it so you can inspire all the other listeners to scoop it up as well.
I think it's great. We're going to have so much fun over the next couple of weeks. Just a friendly reminder that we are releasing episodes every other week now instead of weekly, just to give us a little more time to create. Like with Genesis' beautiful new fabrics, we need time to make too. So we'll be back in 2 weeks for another episode, as Audra mentioned. And thank you again, Genesis, for spending so much time with us today. And we will see you all in 2 weeks. Bye.
Thank
Happy
you.
sewing.
Happy sewing.